Hi, this is Jeannie at Trendy Tree, and today I'm going to show you how to make a penguin wreath. We're going to start out with a 24-inch pencil wreath. Now, our 24-inch wreath measure 15 inches across the wire, but with the addition of mesh and other products, you'll wind up with a finished wreath that's 24 inches or greater. And this is the pencil style. Now, you could also use a white wreath for this. I'm going to use a 21-inch mesh. This is an iridescent snowball mesh, and the number on it is XB946-01. It's 21 inches in width, and it has iridescent foil, and it's 10 yards on a roll. I'm also going to use this. This is a snowdrift or snowball type mesh. The number on it is RY812207. It's 10 inches in width and 10 yards in length. I like it because it's got a little more of the extra white tufts, and I'm going to use it on top of the 21-inch to just give a little more thickness to the wreath. We're going to use this cute little penguin pieces. He's got a hat, and he's got a wire in his hat. His number is XC6094. All the pieces are wired. The head has 3 wires on it so you can attach it. And then there's also a wire in the top so you could shape the hat if you wanted to. And this little feet, you turn it around right, and little wings. So we're going to put that on the wreath when we get it done. And then I picked out 3 ribbons. Well, I hadn't noticed that, but I've got a 2.5 inch, and the rest of my ribbons are all 1.5 inch. So anyway, I've got 2 or 3 different ribbons picked out, and I'll give you those numbers too. This ribbon is very pretty. It's white and got this little, red with this little furry edge, and it is RG01598W7. The black says, baby, it's cold outside, and it is RG01545. That's RG01545. And then the solid black glittered ribbon is RJ403002. And the white glittered ribbon is RJ4031. All these products came from Trendy Tree. Now, we'll put these products in a kit and sell all these supplies in a kit. But now, once the kits sell out, you can still follow the basic directions and just choose a different mesh, different ribbons, different wreath color. So don't worry if the kits have sold out. You know, you should be able to find something to substitute with. We also have a different style of penguin too. We have one that has earmuffs. So the first thing we're going to do is start with a pouf technique. Let me just move these things out of my way. We're going to start with a pouf technique, and I'm just going to let the mesh fall off in the floor. I'm just going to gather my mesh about 3 or 4 inches from the end. Just pinch it together and just fold it under a little bit. Just make just a small loop there, and I'm going to go ahead and attach that on the outer ring of the wreath, and this will be my starting point. Just going to give that a couple of twists. And now I'm going to make my first pouf, and I'm going to measure 10 inches. And just gather that mesh up. I'm going to come on around, put my hands under that pouf and kind of puff it out a little bit, fluff it out a little bit. And just go to the next twist. Secure that. And I'm just going to keep working all the way around the work wreath. Okay, now I've worked all the way around until my last pouf. So I'm going to go ahead and gather. I'm going to go ahead and gather my mesh, measure and gather. have my 10-inch pouf, and then I'm going to go to my starting point where I attached my first pouf. I'm going to open that up, make sure that all stays in place. And then I'm going to lay my pouf down. I'm going to attach it back. And now I've gone all the way around the outer ring and made my poufs. And you can kind of go back and look at them and fluff them out if you need to make any adjustments. If one is like too small or too big, you can do that now. And now we're going to move up to the inner ring. So I'm going to take my mesh and just pull it up snug, and I'm going to move up to the closest ring on the inside. So for this wreath, it will be right here. So I'm just going to pull that mesh up and just secure that. Give that just a couple of twists, and that'll be my starting point for my inside poufs. I'm going to measure the same 10 inches. Just measure and gather. And then move right on around to the next twist on the inner ring. Okay, now I've worked around and I'm back to the beginning again. I'm ready to make my last pouf on the inner ring. So I'm going to measure, and then I'm going to open up this twist on the inner ring where I started and lay the last pouf down and close it back. I'm just going to open that up, make sure it stays in place. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut my mesh off. I'm going to just leave a tail of 4 or 5 inches. I'm going to fold that under. And secure that twist back. We've got that raw edge. I'm just going to kind of make sure that raw edge stays in that pouf. Okay? So now we've gone all the way around it with a 10-inch pouf in each twist. Now, don't worry if it looks a little thin to you right now. We're going to add in another layer. And of course, when you put your ribbons and other embellishments, that'll make a big difference too. We're going to use this 10-inch mesh. I think it's 10 or maybe 10 and a half, but I'm going to cut 15-inch pieces. Now you will have a couple of yards left of your 21-inch mesh. Now we're going to take our 10-inch mesh and we're going to cut it in 15-inch pieces. There's 18 twists on a work wreath, so I'm going to cut 18 pieces that are 15 inches in length. I'm using a Fiskars cutter, stick cutter. It's a rotary cutter, 60 millimeter. Now we don't have these at Trendy Tree, but I'll give you our affiliate link for that. And this mat is what's called a self-healing cutting mat. Great cutting surface, and it has measurements. It makes cutting, especially repetitive pieces, much easier. And you can cut more than one thickness of mesh at the same time too. Okay, so I cut 18 pieces and they're all 15 inches in length. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a 15-inch ruffle and put on top of each one of the poofs. It's just going to give it a little more snowy look. So just take that 15-inch piece, just lay it down on your table flat, and then just scrunch right up through the center. Just make a ruffle. Looks like a bow tie. And like I say, you'll have some threads that you'll have to snip along the way. And to attach your ruffle, you want to open up your twist, make sure your poof stays in place, lay the ruffle down, and then just re-secure with a couple of turns. But just take your mesh, just let it kind of roll up naturally, spread it out, and then just scrunch up through the center. Doesn't have to be real tight. You want to keep it pretty even. Open up a twist, lay the ruffle down, and then re-secure the twist with a couple of turns. Now then, I'm going to add a ruffle to each twist all around the inner ring and the outer ring. Now there's a wreath after we finished our ruffles. So we did the 10-inch poof on the outer ring and the inner ring, and then came back and did a 15-inch ruffle and put one ruffle in each twist. Now you may want to turn your wreath over from the back and kind of push the poofs and ruffles out toward the front to kind of open up that center. And also, this is a good time to go ahead and make a hook for your wreath, and you can do that, or a hanger for your wreath. And you can do that by just using a chenille stem or even a zip tie. And it will help if you position your hanger where one of the straight posts are, and just kind of hook it on either side of the post, and that way your hanger won't be slipping around. And you can clip strings, you can do that now. Of course, you'll have to do it again at the end, but remember, clip them instead of pulling when you can. I love the way this mesh looks. It has, adding the ruffles gave it some more depth and coverage. The silver twist, I'm just going to let those show because it gives a little more glitter, and the iridescent mesh gives it some shine. So I'm thinking it's a really pretty wreath and to let the mesh show. So what I was thinking is position the penguin kind of on one side, and then put a bow from the other side. And then if we want to add in some more bows or ribbon strips, we can. But for right now, that's where we'll stop and make a bow. We're going to make a bow for our wreath using the Pro Bow. This is a Pro Bow. Now my version is an old one. We have the Pro Bows here at Trendy Tree. This is the large size. And when you open it up, it comes with a spool holder that holds three spools of ribbon, and then this is your board. Now like I say, mine is the older version. The newer version, all these numbers, holes and things are numbered for you. And it has pegs. We're going to make a bow. This is called a Terry bow. This bow is made after Terry Marshall. She created the bow. I'm going to set up my board, and then I'll put my camera in closer where you can see. Okay, I'll try to get my board where you can see it, but it's going to be kind of hard, I know. So I'm going to start with a peg in the center, and then I'm going to make, this is going to be about a 12-inch bow, so I'm going to go out to this C line. I'm going to put 5 pegs in on each side. I'm on the wrong line, sorry. Excuse me. Now then, I have my board lined up wrong. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. That feels a little loose. So this is my starting point. So the first thing I need to do is cut some wire. This is just paddle wire. I'm just going to use that board to measure. This is a terry bow, or it's my attempt at a terry bow. Terry Marshall developed this bow, and she has a great YouTube video. Terry, T-E-R-R-I. Just go to YouTube and look for Terry bow, and you'll see her video, and you'll see some other people making it too. So just fold that wire and just lay it aside for right now, and cut a second piece. Alright, and I have 4 different ribbons, and 3 of them are 1.5 inches. So I'm going to use probably 2. I'll use each ribbon twice. I'm going to start with this white ribbon. And the first thing, I'm just going to do an angle cut on my ends. The first thing I'm going to do is measure my tail. And I'm going to make my tails, I'm going to come out to the C mark just to measure my tail. And then I'm going to pinch my ribbon. And take my wire and wrap around that ribbon to secure it. Twist that. I'm going to bring that wire to the front side of the ribbon, to the face side of the ribbon, and twist it there. Okay. Now I'm going to take the right side of my ribbon and face it toward the post, and I'm going to attach it to the post about halfway of the post. And I'm going to take one end of the wire and just wrap it around the top of that post. We're going to use this wire later at the end. So we're just going to wrap it around that to get it out of the way, and then take the other wire and secure it around that little nail. Just a couple of times, and then I'm just going to scoot the end of that wire under my board to get it out of the way. Okay, so now I have a tail. I'm going to go around this first peg and make a loop. I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to twist my ribbon and get the right side up. Twist it right there where I've got my ribbon attached. And then go around the first peg on this other side. Now then, I'm ready to come back to the center, pinch it again, twist it. Before I cut it, I'm going to take my second piece of wire and I'm going to go through that loop. This will be my working wire. I'm going to secure those ribbons together just like that. Give it a good twist. Now I'm going to take one wire and get it up out of the way, and the other wire to the bottom. So now I'm ready to measure my tail. I'm just going to cut that off at an angle and get that out of the way. Now I'm ready for another ribbon. So I'm going to measure my tail. Pinch up the ribbon. The face side is going to go to the board. I'm going to hold it pinched right there. Go around that second peg. Come back to the center, pinch that ribbon up, get the tail out of the way, go around that second peg, come back to the center, pinch that ribbon up, get it ready to turn again. At this point, I'm going to take that wire from the top, my working wire, and I'm going to wire that ribbon on. Each time you do a set of loops, you're going to wire your ribbon together. So then come out to here, cut my end, take my next ribbon. This time it'll be this red. I'm going to do these two ribbons together because I want to use, I want to have more ribbon. So I'm just going to double up this time. Twist that ribbon. Come around that third peg. Back to the center. Pinch it up. Twist. Take my working wire from the top and my working wire from the bottom. Twist those together. And then cut my ribbons. Okay. So now I'm going to do another black, and I'm going to do the white together. And measure those tails. Put that on top of that. Measure those tails. Pinch that together. Go around that fourth peg. Come back to the center. That tight. I'm going to twist that. Go around that fourth peg. Come back to the center. Pinch that up. Give it a twist. Take my working wire and wire that loop together. Okay, come out and cut my tails. Okay, so now I'm down to my last loop. So this time I'm going to do red and black together. And I think I put the red on top. So measure your tail, pinch that together. Go around that last loop. Come back to the center. Pinch that together. loop. Come back to the center. Pinch that together. Twist. Take my working wire at the top and my wire at the bottom. And then cut my tails. Okay. So now I've got my bow made. That was my working wire at the top and my working wire at the bottom. So now I need to wire the whole bow together, and I'm going to use that wire that I had wrapped around my post to start with. On my end. I covered up my end. Here we go. I'm just going to unwrap that. And get the one from the bottom that was wrapped around the little nail. Get that. And then I'm going to ease my bow off the board. Going to take that wire, the one off the post and the one from the bottom. Going to squeeze that. You want it stacked like that, but you want to squeeze it down as tight as you can. Take that wire. Okay. So now I've got 4 pieces of wire. I'm going to wire all those together. And then that's the wire that I'll use to attach it to my wreath. Take my board and just hook that wire under that little hook and around this little nail at the front, and then I'm ready to fluff my ribbon. So I'm going to take a loop, separate it from the tail, so have a loop going one way and a tail going the other, and then take your next loop, I don't know if it matters if you fluff from the bottom or the top. But find your loops. You just want to be sure to separate your loops and tails. And then move on to the next one. Just keep separating your loops and tails so you get them all done. now you've got a really pretty wreath bow. Now, I made another bow that's a little bit smaller. I think that what I'm going to do is use three bows on the wreath, but one will be larger and two will be smaller. For this smaller bow, we use the same ribbon, but I only used each ribbon one time except for the black. I used it twice. Now you may want to hang your wreath on the wall or door to kind of see where your placement is. And there's plenty of wire on the pieces to attach, but kind of get a layout of where you want to attach them before you secure them, because if you go to a lot of trouble to secure them tightly and then they're not in the right place, it's just hard to get it off, especially when you've threaded it through the mesh. So get your placement, just bend it a little bit to get your placement, and then once you're done, then you can go back to the back of your wreath and secure those wires a little more. So I'm just going to put the head and the feet on one side, and then I'm going to take my bows. Let's see, I've just kind of got them laid up here so I can kind of see how they look. I'm going to secure my bows. I'm going to do like 3 bows on this side. Now you'll have to fluff your bows again after you secure them. That's just common. So just kind of spread your fingers out, kind of get your placement, and I'm going to just work my fingers through the wreath and secure them to like kind of the center ring. And you don't want to pull your bow in so tight that it crushes it, but just kind of get your placement, and we can always come back and clean up the back and shorten the wires or anything like that. The first thing you want to do is just get your placement, and I think I put it a little high, so let me just undo it, move it down some. So I'm going to come down a little bit lower. Okay. Okay, and then we'll need to fluff our bows. Now you have plenty of ribbon left. If you wanted to do ribbon strips anywhere else you could, but I really wanted the penguin to kind of pop, so I'm going to leave him just like he is. And I also have this Raz snowball garland, and what I thought I would do would be position the garland where he's like holding it in his little wings. Here's our wreath after we finished it. It measures a good 26 to 27 inches in diameter. I took the snowball garland and just kind of attached it, you know, just kind of squeezed that wire around the garland. And you could always secure that a little more with a small piece of wire or some fishing line. And we just attach the 3 bows on this side. We'll put the larger one in the middle and then a smaller one on each end. And there you have it. All the supplies came from Trendy Tree. I'll give you a list of all the supplies that you need. And just remember that any of these supplies that sell out, you can always substitute other ribbon. We have another penguin kit that has earmuffs, and you can always use lots of different kinds of mesh. Thanks for dropping in. We hope that you'll follow us on Facebook, where we do some Facebook Lives, and be sure and sign up to our YouTube channel so you won't miss our next video coming out. And drop by our website. We sell all different kinds of work wreaths and forms, mesh, ribbons, and seasonal decorations. Thanks for dropping in. We'll see you next time.